Welcome back to the Fairway Performance Podcast. My name is Shaun Diachkoff and I'm the host of this show. And the aim of this show is to help you play the best golf possible on the golf course by improving your best asset on the golf course, which is, of course, your body. Now, in today's episode, we're going to dive into 10 traits which I think are absolutely critical for you to achieve if you are to play the best golf or to play the golf that you actually feel is to your true potential. So these numbers and these metrics and stuff I'm taking from TPI. We're looking at TPI screening and movement assessment numbers. We're looking at strength numbers from TPI Institute, and we're also looking at power metrics that they've come up with. So the first of the metrics that they talk about is strength. So we want to look at some strength numbers. The first one being a split squat test. So number one, split squat test. What we want to be able to do is to have our feet set up in a split squat position and to be able to split squat for 8 repetitions, 150% of our body weight. So what does that look like? 150% of our body weight is if we were to hold on to 2 dumbbells, each of them being 25% of our body weight in each hand. So if we weighed 100 pounds, we'd hold a 25-pound dumbbell in each hand, and we'd be doing a split squat on both legs with 150 pounds total, 100 being our body weight, and then 50 pounds obviously being the dumbbells. Now, what is this test actually proving to us or showing to us? What it's proving is it's showing that we have great single leg strength and stability, and that's going to help us and convert over to the golf course by allowing us to have different lies, standing in different positions, in different lies, undulating, ball above our feet, ball below our feet, digging down into bunkers, and also just grounding ourselves for a really good stable pelvic position and leg position so that we can create good rotation and torque off that really stable base. The second test that we're going to look at is a single arm press test. Now with this one, we'd use a cable machine, and what we're going to do is lean away from the cable machine, holding the cable in our hands next to our chest, and we're going to press it away from our body so that we're not anchored into a seat or doing a seated press or any other variation. We're actually having to do what's called anti-rotate or create anti-rotation by balancing and bracing our bodies, and we're going to press that cable machine away from us for 8 repetitions. Now, the weight that we're going to use for this, because obviously we're doing it one hand at a time, is 25% of our body weight. So we want to be able to do 8 repetitions on the right side, 8 repetitions on the left side, and being able to do 8 reps each side with 25% of our body weight shows us obviously great strength in the upper body and also good core strength so that we can brace ourselves and not rotate as we're doing that pressing. Because studies have shown and TPI have shown that some of the longest hitters in the world and some of the most consistent hitters in the world have really good chest and upper body pressing strength because that helps to develop a really strong and powerful golf swing. The next strength element we'll look at is, so this is test number 3, is we want to be able to row 30% of our body weight. So with rowing, we're going to set the cable machine to the lowest possible position on the machine, and we're going to row up in a 45-degree fashion. We want to be able to row 30% of our body weight on each side, so slightly higher amount than what we can press, but we want to be able to row 30% each side for 8 repetitions. What we know about this is it creates lat length. Lat length creates more width in our swing, and also lat length creates a lot of power. So if we can go wider, create longer lats, and then get them contracting harder, it's obviously going to equal, the ability for us to hit the ball much further. So rowing 30% of our body weight is check number 3. Number 4, and we're moving into a bit of power-based stuff. So we want to look at our vertical leap, because we obviously know that our vertical jump or vertical ground reaction forces is a really big thing in golf, and our ability to drive our feet into the ground is going to help us to create more power in that kinematic sequence to transfer to the club head. So what we're looking at here is if you can do a 16 to 19 inch vertical leap. So if you're to measure that, what you could do is just stand up against the wall or stand up against a wall, hold your hand up as high as you can and just mark on that wall where you can touch your fingers when you're reaching as high as possible. So mark it. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take a little step to the side. You're going to jump up as high as you can and touch above that mark as high as possible. And whatever the distance between obviously where your hands start and then where that mark is that you reach when you jump is going to be your vertical leap. we want that to be at least 16 to 19 inches. So 16 to 19 inch vertical leap is, average, above average. And then if we can get it above 20 inches, it's amazing. Obviously, not as good as NBA players reaching up, in the high 30s and 40s for their vertical leap in terms of inches. As golfers, want to be able to do at least, 16 to 19, even up to 20 inches is a great vertical leap for a golfer. Test number 5 is going to be a dynamic effort or a power-based activity, and it's going to be a medicine ball throw or a medicine ball shot put test. So essentially what we're doing with this is we're setting up in our normal golf stance. We're holding onto a medicine ball, similar to what somebody would be doing if they were doing a shot put. And we're going to rotate into our backswing, and then we're going to rotate into our downswing and throw that medicine ball as far as possible. Now, a great result for this would be to be able to throw that medicine ball 30 feet, would be, top level PGA Tour player. 25 to 30 feet is going to be a really good measure for most golfers. Now, a lot of you might ask, what is a good weight to use for that medicine ball? Generally a 2 to 4 kilogram ball. So that's a 4 to 8 kilogram ball for you guys who talk in pounds. So that's the size and weight of the medicine ball that you want to use. And there is a specific measure for it. So if you want more information on that, send me a message, whether it's on Instagram or leave a comment on the YouTube video, and I'll share that information with you. But there is a specific number that we can go for. But the essence of it is we want to be able to throw that ball so it shows a really good transfer of power from our legs through our body, through our arms, and to be able to throw that ball 25 to 30 feet. And we want to do it from the normal golf swing side that we're doing a golf swing in. So right-handers, the right hand will be underneath the ball throwing it, and for you lefties, it'll be the left hand underneath the ball and putting it out that way. Number 6, and this is where we're moving into flexibility and mobility traits. So we've gone over some speed and power-based stuff and some strength-based movements. So now we're moving into flexibility and mobility. So the first one we're going to look at here, number 6, is the hamstring flexibility or your hamstring flexibility. So from a standing posture, feet at, hip width, maybe even out to shoulder width, nice straight legs, you want to fold forward and to be able to touch your toes. We know that having greater flexibility in the hamstrings is going to equal less pain in the lower back, and it's just going to equal a better golf swing. So we have more range of motion, and we're not tied up with a tight, lower back and hamstrings, which can hinder some of the rotation that we are trying to create in a golf swing. Number 7 is thoracic spine rotation. Now, with this one, we're going to be seated on a box or a chair, wiggle our butt forward so that we're sitting on the edge of that chair, and our knees are well off the chair, or our hamstrings and knees are off the chair. We're going to have our knees together, heels together, sitting nice and tall and upright, golf club on our back. And we want to be able to rotate 45 degrees in either or in both the backswing and the downswing. So 45 degrees, if you're looking straight at me, is offset 45 degrees. We're not looking for 90 degrees, which would be having my shoulders completely straight up and down against the camera and then my body facing the other way. We're just looking for 45 degrees of rotation. Now, this is difficult for most because what we're doing by setting the knees together and the heels together is taking away any action from the hips to help us in terms of that rotation. And we're really trying to isolate the thoracic spine as much as possible. So we're testing the rotation of it alone. We're trying to isolate, just looking straight at that thoracic spine to ensure that it can do that 45 degrees of rotation, which is going to help us to exceed the demands of what our golf swing is going to require of us. The next aspect, which is number 7, is going to be hip rotation. So when we talk about hip rotation, we talk about internal and external rotation of the hips. And we want to have 60 degrees of internal and external rotation each side of the hips. Okay, so this is going to help us to turn into our backswing because we're turning our trail leg, we're turning internally into it. And we want 60 degrees there, which then helps free up the thoracic spine to do some rotation and then further into the swing, our shoulders. And we want to be able to do that in the downswing as well. What we find when the thoracic spine, which I talked about just a second ago, and the hips are not functioning correctly or not rotating as much as we would like them to, we find the lower back being the poor guy in the middle, which cops all the slack and it cops all the extra weight and load in order to try and make up for one of those or both of those other parts of the body not functioning correctly. And it's not designed to do that. So that's why we're testing thoracic rotation at 45 degrees and then internal and external rotation of the hips to be 60 degrees or greater. Okay, number 9 is external shoulder rotation. The key one here is the trail arm in your golf swing. So if you're a right-hander, we're looking at the trail arm, which is your right arm. The way we're going to test this is to hold your elbow out to the side as if you've got a barbecue skewer going straight from your elbow through your arm and then out the other side of the shoulder. And from here, we want to watch your forearm and see if you can rotate it to have the angle of your forearm exceeding the spine angle that you have. So we want to do that in both a standing posture, and then we want to do it in a posture, or golf posture, what we call it, is as if you're hitting like a 5 or a 6 iron. So set up as if you're going to hit a 5 or a 6 iron, elbow out to the side, rotating the forearm, and we want that forearm angle to be greater than your spine angle, which shows greater than 90 degrees of external rotation in the shoulders. So if we have the hips functioning, if we have the thoracic functioning, and we have the shoulders functioning as they need to with each of these degrees of rotation that I've just mentioned, then we're going to have the ability to exceed the demands of what a full golf swing is, and we're not going to run into any problems. Hence why we run through all of these tests. And the last test, or test number 10, and I've put it purposely at the end because I feel it's the least important out of all of them, but it's for stamina and endurance. But we still want to have some baseline level of stamina and endurance as a golfer, because obviously there is a cardio element to what we do. But it's to go for a run and to be able to run 2.4 kilometers, which is 1.5 miles, and to be able to do that in under 15 minutes. So if you can exceed that and you can get under that 15-minute mark, it means that you're probably not having to stop and walk at any point. It's a nice casual, or not a casual pace, but it's a pace which isn't terribly difficult, or shouldn't be terribly difficult for many people. It puts a lot of load through the body in terms of obviously, stepping side to side, and it's making sure that there's no pain, discomfort in our joints or any of the supporting ligaments and tissues around our joints. So it's a really good test of your muscular endurance and stamina, as well as your aerobic fitness as well. So doing that 2.4 kilometer or 1.5 mile run in under 15 minutes is a really good baseline and benchmark for most golfers in terms of testing their cardio fitness. There you have it. There's the 10 traits which I feel every golfer should have if they want to play to their true potential, so that they know that their body is not a limiter in this situation. So if you can't do any one of these 10, obviously it points you in the direction of what traits and things that you need to work on the most, whether that's a strength-based thing, whether that's a flexibility, mobility, power-based thing, or even your cardio. So if you have trouble with any of these, or you want insight on how to train any of these, you can always reach out to me. Shaun, SHAUN, at fairwayperformance.com is my email address. Send me an email, or hit me up on social media. Instagram is the place that I'm the most active, which is just my name, at Shaun Diachkoff. You can search for me on there and shoot me a question through the DMs, and I'll happily start a conversation with you and chat about it. But the best place for everybody to start is to assess their body. So assess what is holding you back, assess what you need to work on, and don't guess what that is. We find out what we need to work on by doing assessments and tests like this, because it guides us in the right direction on what to work on. So we're not wasting our time, effort, energy, or money, chasing other things or other rabbits. We're just chasing and trying to perfect and get better at the things that we need to specifically work on. I really hope this episode has helped. If you're not already, subscribe on whatever podcast channel it is that you listen to. Subscribe on YouTube or on the Apple or Spotify. Smash the like button. I would really appreciate any support, obviously, for this, and to get this information into the ears of more golfers, because at the end of the day, my mission is to help as many golfers as possible to improve their best asset on the golf course, which is, of course, your body. And we do that by first knowledge and then by doing the actual thing. So until next week, play well, train hard, and I'll speak to you soon.